A successful attorney, an obsessive love, a single night that ended in 6 gunshots. She said it was self-defense. The courtroom heard something else. What really happened inside that quiet condominium and inside her mind? The Campbell County courtroom didn't just hold a murder trial. It held the autopsy of a relationship that had been unraveling for months. Ryan Poston, a 29-year-old attorney with a promising career, was described by colleagues as disciplined, ambitious, and socially confident. Across the aisle sat Shayna Hubers, 21 at the time of the killing, intelligent, articulate, and academically accomplished. On paper, they looked compatible. In reality, their relationship was volatile, intense, and deeply unbalanced. They met on Facebook. What followed was an 18-month cycle of breakups, reconciliations, and emotional dependence. Prosecutors argued that Hubers became increasingly obsessed with Poston, while Poston slowly tried to distance himself, carefully, quietly, afraid of confrontation. Text messages introduced in court painted a clear psychological pattern. Hubers demanded reassurance, attention, and control. Poston responded with avoidance, short replies, and emotional withdrawal. The fracture deepened when Poston began seeing other women. On the night of October 12, 2012, he had plans to meet Audrey Bolt, Miss Ohio USA 2012. He never showed up. Instead, he was inside his Highland Heights condominium with Hubers. In court, prosecutors emphasized motive, rejection. They argued that Poston had finally decided to end the relationship permanently. For Hubers, this wasn't just a breakup, it was an identity collapse. Witnesses testified that she struggled with abandonment, control, and perceived humiliation. To her, losing Poston meant losing validation. The courtroom heard how obsession doesn't always look like rage. Sometimes it looks like fear of being erased, and that fear, left unchecked, can turn fatal. At 1:33 a.m., Shayna Hubers called 911. Calm, controlled. She said she had killed her boyfriend. 6 gunshots. Poston was unarmed. During interrogation, Hubers spoke freely, even after being read her Miranda rights. What disturbed investigators was not just what she said, but how she said it. She claimed self-defense, alleging abuse. But then her tone shifted. She joked, she smiled. She said she shot him in the face because he was vain, and that she gave him the nose job he always wanted. Left alone in the interrogation room, Hubers paced. She danced. She sang Amazing Grace. Then she said something chilling. I did it. Yes, I did it. I can't believe I did that. Later, I'm so good at acting. Psychologists later testified that these behaviors pointed to narcissistic traits, emotional dysregulation, and a need for control over the narrative. This wasn't panic. This was performance. The prosecution argued that Hubers did not act in self-defense. She acted out of humiliation and loss of control. 6 shots were fired, the final one after Poston was already down. Forensic evidence contradicted her claims of immediate danger. In court, her former cellmate testified that Hubers laughed about killing Poston and bragged about manipulating her legal strategy. She allegedly claimed she was too smart to plead insanity. This was no longer just about a shooting. It was about credibility, about whether fear or ego pulled the trigger. And the jury was watching closely. The jury deliberated for 5 hours. They rejected the self-defense claim. In 2015, Shayna Hubers was convicted of murder and sentenced to 40 years. Though that conviction was later overturned due to a juror's concealed felony record, the story did not end there. In 2018, after a second trial, where Hubers testified herself, offering graphic and emotional accounts, the jury once again found her guilty. This time, the sentence was life imprisonment, with the possibility of parole after 20 years. The judge made his stance clear. He did not believe Hubers was a victim of domestic violence. The evidence did not support it. The behavior did not support it. The words did not support it. In the courtroom, Ryan Poston's family listened as the law finally settled on a truth that had taken years to surface. This was not a crime of passion. It was a crime of possession, a refusal to accept rejection. The psychological lesson was heavy. Obsession can disguise itself as love. Control can pretend to be fear. And when ego fractures under rejection, violence can follow. Ryan Poston was buried days after the shooting. His future ended in a moment he didn't see coming. And the final question the courtroom left behind still echoes. When someone says, "If I can't have you, no one will," do we hear it as emotion or as a warning?